Hey guys, it's Terrence here with fishnetproductions.com. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today is the third video in the series that I'm doing on EQ. Now in the first video we talked about the use of the high pass and low pass filters and some of their common and not so common uses. In the second video we dealt with additive and subtractive EQ, better known as cutting and boosting. Now in this video I gave a pretty objective means to use both cutting and boosting to achieve a really good mix. Now in this video we're going to be talking about placing the instruments in the frequency spectrum to achieve separation. So let's jump right in. Now there are two schools of thought behind achieving separation in a mix. The first thought, and what most mixers who are just starting out think, is that you have to have 100% separation between every instrument and vocal to have a great mix. And as much talk as there is about mixing and what's supposed to be done and all, I know why this is the case. Now this would probably be easy to achieve with a small number of instruments in a song, say 3 to 5, including a vocal. But today's mixes are very full of instruments. And I read an article a while back where a popular mixer had upwards of 120 tracks to mix on a famous pop artist song. Yes, 120 tracks. And with the virtually unlimited capability to record pretty much as many tracks as you want nowadays, mixers are getting bigger and bigger. Now, the second school of thought is that you have to create a frequency spectrum where all of the instruments and vocals work well together. Now, what do I mean by work well together? I mean a situation where the instruments work well together in a synergistic way and complement each other in a very pleasing way. Now, admittedly, a large portion of this has to do with song arrangement and how instruments play off each other to begin with. But for the purposes of this video, we'll stick to the part that EQ plays in it. So now this begs the question of, can we get 100% separation in our mixes? And if we can, should we strive for that? Well, my answer to this question is the same as it's always been to all of these should you or should you not type questions. And it's this: it's all a matter of preference, guys. So I'll tell you why I subscribe to the second school of thought and make the case why I think it's the better option. One, there seems to be a lot of contradiction to the 100% separation philosophy anyway, and that's the discussion of glue, or mixed glue as it's so called. It seems you're supposed to spend all of this time getting tracks separated through frequency and other means, and then you spend time afterwards with the so-called glue plugins like compressors and such. Just seems like such a waste of time. Now, secondly, I don't think a song with all of the tracks in there that are separated 100% through frequency is a very good sounding track anyway. So for an example, let's take a track that has a piano and a guitar in it. Now, depending on how the piano is played, it could have a frequency range from anywhere from 70 hertz all the way up to 10 kilohertz. And that's a very wide frequency range. Now, if you have another instrument in there, say like an electric guitar, to achieve 100% separation, we would have to go in and pull out all of the frequencies that are present in the guitar, pull out all of those frequencies in the piano, which again, the guitar covers a wide range of frequencies. So at the end of the day, we'd have probably a horrible sounding piano and a great sounding guitar, but it would be separated, technically separated 100%. So to me, that doesn't make for a good mix. So now what I'll do here is take you through my process of achieving separation of the tracks in a mix in such a way that the tracks work well together, and they're not 100% separated, but they work well together. You'll be able to tell where the track is going and so forth and so on. So the first thing I like to do is just simply have a listen to the track, have a listen to what's going on, and let the track kind of tell me what's happening in it. So let's have a listen to it and let's go from there. Here we go.
If you think you'll slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again, 'cause I'm a virus, an infection that will sit on your brain, but you fear no pain.
Okay, so a few things that I'm hearing about this track is that it lacks some clarity up in the 2 to 3, maybe 4K range. So we'll probably go in and have a look at that and see if we can boost it a little bit, maybe add some clarity to it. And the second thing that I'm hearing is some build up down in the muddy areas with the bass and the kick drum, maybe from anywhere from 60 hertz all the way up to 100 and 120 hertz, somewhere in that area. I'm hearing some build up. So what I'll probably do is apply some corrective EQ, some cutting, just to take those frequencies out that are clashing with each other. So let's pull up the EQ on the bass guitar and on the kick drum, and let's solo these two tracks and have a listen to them and just kind of listen to where they're clashing at and if they're clashing at all. So here we go. Okay, now these two tracks are working fairly well together. They're not overly bad. They're not clashing so much that you can't hear one over the other or anything like that. They're pretty much balanced volume-wise where I would like to have them be. But there does seem to be a little clashing down in the lower frequencies around 60 or 70 hertz or so. So what we'll do is go in and fish those out. Now here's the trick of how I do this. And it's very simple. What you do is you take two tracks that are clashing with each other and you put them in mono. So right now the kick and the bass guitar are already up the center, so technically they are in mono, but this could work with any two tracks. So you could use the mono switch on your interface or in the software of the interface, or you could use a plugin to do this. But just throw those two tracks in mono so that they're right on top of each other so that you don't get a false sense of separation by them being panned to different areas. So these two instruments are right on top of each other so we can hear the direct effect that each is having on the other. So let's go ahead and take the bass guitar first. We'll go in and this is how this works. Basically go in and take one of the tracks, boost the frequencies that you think are clashing in those areas, have it just sweep around the area in a little bit. So we'll do this on the bass guitar. Now the trick to this is you don't listen to the bass guitar while you're boosting it. You actually listen to the kick drum. Do not listen to the bass guitar while you're boosting it. I know that's the common thing to do when you're working on an EQ on this instrument and you want to go do some boosting on it. You're trying to see what effect it has on the instrument. But in this case, this is not how I like to do it. I like to listen when I boost these frequencies, what effect that it's having on the kick drum. So as I'm boosting here, I'm going to sweep around, but I'm going to keep my ear on this kick drum. Now what I'm listening for is the frequency that when I boost here, it's cutting out a lot of what I hear that's contributing to this track. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll play this and I'll do some boosting and you can hear what I'm talking about. All right, so you see when boosted here, I boosted the frequency of about 69 hertz where I heard that was clashing with this kick drum the most. I kept my ear on the kick drum the whole time to see what was happening to the kick drum. So when I boosted this particular frequency here, it basically drowned out the kick drum. Now, I know a lot of this has to do with the volume gain that you get when you boost a certain frequency. And so a lot of what you're hearing is volume contributed. But at the same time, it's also frequency too. So now I can tell which frequency here is clashing the most in the kick drum. So now what I'll do, I'll take this and I'll cut it. I'll do about a 3, maybe 4 dB cut, and then A and B it and see if it contributed anything to this kick drum. See if we can hear the kick drum more clear now with this cut. So we'll have a listen to that. I'll A and B it and I'll start with it off and we can see what effect, if any, it's having on the bass, on the kick drum. All right, huge difference, right? Just by a small cut here in the frequency that I heard that was clashing with this. Now, when I cut this out, I can hear the kick drum more clearly. I can hear that low end from the kick drum down here in this 70 range from the kick drum more clearly. All right, now let's have a listen to that in the context of the track because that's where it matters the most. So let's A and B that with the entire track going. So here we go.
Slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again, 'cause I'm a virus, an infection that will sit on your brain, but you fear no pain.
All right, you can see it's making a huge difference. You got a lot more clarity down there in the lower range, and we've gotten some separation between the kick and the bass drum without adding too much, without having to do too much to the track. Now, another secret that you can do here is when you have these two frequencies and you find the one that's clashing, you can cut one and boost the other. So I can cut this 69 hertz out of the bass guitar. Now I can set this to 69 hertz and then boost that. So you kind of have this opposing thing going on. So I'll boost it about 4 dB or so, and we can take a listen to that as well. That'll give us a little bit more separation. This is with the track.
If you think you'll slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again, 'cause I'm a virus, an infection that will sit on your brain, but you fear no pain.
Yep, not a big difference, but a meaningful difference. So if we take this principle and we apply it to all of the other tracks that are clashing, here I have the Rhodes and the strings, and we can apply those techniques to all of these instruments, it will give this overall track a little bit less muddiness down here in these frequency ranges. As you can see that it happened between the kick and the bass drum. All right, so now what we'll try to do is add some presence to the track, and what I'll do is probably work with the lead vocal first, as the lead vocal is what kind of sits on top of the track anyway in a mix. So I'll probably just take that and add some presence to it. So let's just have a listen to the what's going on with the lead vocal by itself. Here we go.
If you think you'll slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again.
See, nothing really wrong again with the vocal. It's a really good recording. Nothing that's wrong with it. There's no artifacts or anything going on in it that's, any hums or pops or quirks or anything like that that we need to correct. So overall, it's a fairly decently recorded vocal. Actually, it's a really good recorded vocal. So basically, again, all we're going to do, we're not trying to fix anything here. We're just going to add something. We're going to try to add a little presence, add a little clarity up in the probably the 3, maybe 4K range, and see what that does. So let's have a listen to that, and then let's go from there.
If you think you'll slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again, 'cause I'm a virus, an infection that will sit on your brain.
Now what I am hearing now is some pops from, seems like some of the P's got a little strong down here. So what I'm going to try to do is add a high pass filter, again some corrective EQ to try to high pass that, probably up to maybe around 140, so as this is a female vocal. So let's start there and see what we have, and see what this EQ with the high pass filter on and the boost around 3.2K. Let's see what's happening there.
If you think you'll slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again, 'cause I'm a virus, an infection that will sit on your brain, but you will fear no pain.
Okay, not bad. I'm still lacking a little clarity, so what I'm going to try to do is add some air, probably up in the, again, 8, maybe let's try to go up to 10K. Let's boost there. Let's listen to it while we're doing it and see if we can boost some of that clarity. Here we go.
If you think you'll slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again, 'cause I'm a virus, an infection that will sit on your brain, but you will fear no pain.
All right, great. Let's listen to that in the context of the mix. I'll A and B it. I'll start with it off and then I'll turn it on.
If you think you'll slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again, 'cause I'm a virus, an infection that will sit on your brain, but you will fear no pain.
Yeah, that's nice. You see how that vocal just kind of jumped out at you, kind of came forward to you in the mix, and now it's kind of right in your face. So when we add some compression to it, that'll even be better. But the vocal is now kind of out in your face. Now what I'm going to do is turn the volume down to it a little bit to compensate. So what I'll do is change the output here. Let's take it down to maybe about 1.5 dB or so. Let's start there and see what we get. So that'll compensate for the volume gain that we got from these boosts here. So let's try to A/B that again and watch it. It will still jump out you, and you'll see that it's not a volume issue. Here we go.
If you think you'll slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again, 'cause I'm a virus, an infection that will sit on your brain, but you fear no pain.
Really nice, guys. The vocal just came forward just really that quick, and we're not doing any major things here. We got 4.5 dB here, 6.5 here. That's probably a little more than what I need in it. We'll probably back it down just a hair, but again, you can see how easily this works, and we didn't do anything major here. Now we have more clarity between the kick and the bass, and we have this vocal that's jumping out at us. So now overall, the overall track is a lot more clear. It's a lot more concise in the low end, and it's a little bit more focused. So again, let's just have a listen to what I'll do is let me pull all of these EQs up, the kick and the bass and the vocal. I'll put these here, and I'll try to A and B these so you can have a listen to what just these 3 EQ effects did to create some separation in this track. So let's start, and I'll start with it off, and here we go.
If you think you'll slip away, you're wrong. If you think you'll get away with it again, 'cause I'm a virus, an infection that will sit on your brain, but you fear no pain. You don't have to fear me, just trust my word, come over, you'll be fine. You can run, you can hide, but I will find you, 'cause you are mine, mine to keep in a box. If you think that
Really nice, guys. We achieved some separation. We got some focus down there in the low end where that mud was being created at, and we got some overall clarity in the track by just bringing the vocals up. Now this, guys, we haven't even worked on the rest of the drums, the snare, the hi-hat, any of the instruments, the Rhodes and the strings or anything like that. That's just with these 3 instruments alone, and you can see again the synergistic effect that I was talking about when you do these little subtle movements and they add up over time to what's going to be contributing to your mix. All right, guys, so I hope you got something out of this video. I hope you understand now the ease of separation. It's not really that hard to get some separation when you don't overthink it, and you just do some subtle moves that accumulate over time and over the buildup of all of your tracks. Again, this was just 3 tracks that we did this with. Once you do this with all of the tracks in your mix, you'll have a really good sounding mix very easily. That is, again, if your track is already pretty well recorded and everything to begin with, meaning you don't have a lot of hum and things like that going on in your track that's contributing to, you know, any kind of buildup or artifacts or anything that's going on. All right, guys, so with that being said, I'll end this video here. Join me in the next video where I'm going to be talking about mid-side EQ. Now, mid-side EQ is a fairly new phenomenon that's going on, and there's a lot of confusion going on behind it. So we'll discuss it in the video, and we'll see where we go from there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. Go do that now. Again, a lot of these videos may or may not go public. I may just have them right here on my YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe so you'll get the notifications of when these videos are coming out. Go hit that subscribe button now, and I'll see you guys in the next video.